Yeah.
Derek Carty, are you like that as well, where you just feel like spring training just lingers, maybe that one extra week too long? Because that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I can always use the extra week to like get stuff prepared, but in terms of just like wanting baseball right now, yeah, like I'm ready.
There you go. We're ready to go. And what we're going to talk about with Derek Carty today is some of our best Major League Baseball bets. Now, I've already put a few of them out there. I'm going to be logging them in Betting Pros, so make sure you subscribe to Betting Pros as well, that channel, but also get the Betting Pros app, and you can follow me at Joe Pisapia there because I have a lot of big feelings about some of these futures. I want to start with a low win total here of the Chicago White Sox because Derek Carty, that's where you're starting. And I understand the White Sox are bad, and I love that small numbers sometimes are easy W's. But I want to hear the reasoning behind this White Sox over on the win total.
Yeah, I'm sure this is the first bet that everybody that's tuning in wants to hear. You tuned in to hear me talk about why the White Sox are going to be good this year.
I think you did this with the A's last year, didn't you? It's like you just got to pick the bottom barrel of it all. I love it, Carty. Like get in the mud.
So we're going with the White Sox over 53.5 wins. I think the best line right now is like -110 at DraftKings. This opened at 50 at some books, and it's been creeping up. There's some 64.5s out there now. You look at what the Bad X, my projection system, is projecting for the White Sox, though. It's projecting 66 wins, and we're getting a 53.5 line. Like, it's just absurd. The line is too low. It's too low. I said the same thing last year with Oakland, and it worked out really nicely. When a team was as bad or looked as bad as the White Sox did last year, of course the betting market is going to be like, nobody wants to bet the over on them. So we can set whatever line we want because no one really wants to bet the over, no matter what line we put. And so they set it even lower than they probably should, and that gives us value on betting the over if we have the stones to do it. So, yeah, the White Sox were really, really bad last year. They are actually a really bad team, but they're not like historically bad. Probably most teams are not. Just by sheer probability.
I mean, they were last year. They were historically bad last year. But to your point, they can't be a team.
Yeah, but are they actually that bad, or did they were they bad combined with just like, bad variance over 162 games? Most likely it's the second one. They're bad. I haven't projected for the second fewest wins in baseball this year, or maybe even the most losses rather, or maybe even the most losses in baseball. But 53.5 is extremely low. You have to be really, really, really bad. And it's almost impossible to project any team's true talent level to be that bad ever.
And by the way, people don't people realize they should. Derek Carty, creator of the Bat and the Bat X projections, which you can see on FanGraphs and you see all over the place, rated out this year as well on the baseball projections here at Fantasy Pros. I have one question for you on that total. When you're doing season-long totals like this, where you're getting minus money bets, so you're whatever 53.5, I think was the number, and you're betting a season-long at minus money, what's your relative approach to, like, I don't want to go too crazy into like unit betting, but like, like someone's like, hey, I usually bet this on normal stuff, but you got to wait a whole season long. Like, what is your approach to betting this? Are you like 5 units in when you're betting a win total to play out for the whole season? Same thing, I guess, would apply for, the only problem is like awards, you're getting big plus money, these type of like over home run, I've got one I'm going to play, or something like this. Like, how are you unit betting this type of bet?
Yeah, I mean, minus 110's standard. So, it's kind of, your normal amount. The only thing I'll say is that I don't put a ton into season-long props just because you have to wait until the end of the season, or in the case of the White Sox, maybe until August. And
that's kind of what I mean by it, Derek, is like you're investing in a standard 110 bet, but it's dragging over the entire season. Like, are you more compelled to be like, well, if I'm going to season long this, I love this. This has got to be, 5 units in than what I would normally do on just a daily bet.
Yeah, it's not a question that has an actual correct answer. It's kind of just like, how do you feel about tying up your money that long? What does your bankroll look like? What do you want to be able to have in the chamber for the season? This one does project really well. I'm not the kind of person, though, that's like, well, this one I like a lot, so I'm just going to fire 5 or 10 units at it. The way I approach betting is that I'm going to place a lot of bets long term, and usually I'm flat betting. And so I'm not saying, okay, this one's definitely going to win, and this one, I don't know if this one's going to win. Like, every bet I place, I think is positive expected value. I place the bet, I'm going to lose some. And in the long run, I expect to win more than I lose and to come out profitable. And that's always been the case. So here, I do think the edge on this one is big, but I'm not recommending you bet your house on it. No.
Well, that's good. It's funny. Timing is everything when it comes to wagers too, because I went and bet the Red Sox over the weekend before the Garrett Cole news and quote unquote second opinion came out to win the American League East. And I got a number in the 350s, and now it's jumped to the 270s after the Garrett Cole news dropped. So timing is everything when you're looking at making your wagers too. So if you see opportunities,
I was on some anti-Yankees bets earlier that are looking pretty good right now, like Yankees not to make the playoffs plus 250 kind of thing, or under 90 wins or whatever it was set at. Yeah.
Oh, Derek Carty's already got me going after the show to bet something else now that he's dropped that one on me. But that's the whole point, is that, when you anticipate good news or bad news, there's sometimes value in the market, and that's something you have to pay attention to that's out there. Now, I see Don't Give Him the Stick has a question. Can we ask questions, answer on the live stream? The answer is yes. Yes, you absolutely can. We want your questions here, so drop them. We'll try to get to as many as we can. But if you definitively must have your question answered, you need it, you got a keeper question, you got a draft going on, whatever you got happening, you can super chat us as well. So super chats are available today, and we will get to as many, if not all, the super chats, and they will get priority in our chat. But doesn't mean you can't just drop some questions in there too. We're going to do our best, and we appreciate you as always making sure that you support our channel by subscribing. And we're trying to get to 25,000 before we get to opening day. I think we can do it. We're getting very close. I believe in us. And of course, Welsh and I will do something stupid in honor of 25,000. So if that's not incentive, I don't know what is. Speaking of the Boston Red Sox, who I mentioned earlier, Garrett Crochet, Welsh, you've got a wager on him that you're looking to place. And I really like this one too. It's one that I am planning on betting as soon as he gets right there at the end of spring training. I don't like to make too many bets before spring training's over because anything can happen. But this one is definitely on my radar as well. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and I don't do as well a bunch of crazy season-long bets like Carty's saying. It's not huge in my market. But last year on this Fantasy Fest, what was my play, Joe? It was stolen base leader Ellie De La Cruz at 6-1. This is my Ellie for this year, and it is Garrett Crochet to lead the league in strikeouts. And I found it as good as 10-1. Right now. So even better than that Ellie number. As you can see up on the screen, we've got some projections up there. I'll throw a few things at you with Garrett Crochet. And you probably at nauseum, you've heard me talk about Garrett Crochet on Fantasy Pros videos everywhere. According to the bat, Derek Carty's projection system, Garrett Crochet is projected 5th in the league in strikeouts at 206. So that is 12 less strikeouts than the leader, who is Dylan Cease, at 218 strikeouts. But it's all about the innings. It is all about the innings with Garrett Crochet. 30 more projected innings for that leader, Dylan Cruz, than Garrett Crochet. According to the bat, in most projection systems, he's right around the 150 marker, 152 to be exact. So 30 less innings projected than Dylan Cease. Yet he is one of, if not the top across multiple projection systems you look, he is 1 or 2 in K per 9. According to the bat, there are 8 projected 200 strikeout pitchers. 6 of those 8 have at least 173 or more projected innings. So again, that is 20 less innings than any of those other players. The only other guy is Blake Snell, who is like a strikeout or 2 less, a couple more innings than Garrett Crochet. I love this. I love the team context. The division obviously can, bring in some questions here, but at the end of the day, I think it's easy to play in a world where he can blow past these projected innings. He had 146 innings last season, and we are barely projecting any positive upside on innings. So now you're looking at a Yankees team that's playing from behind. You guys want to place bets up on the Red Sox to take to the division. They're going to need Garrett Crochet more than ever. There's obviously an injury toll in making any starting pitcher bet, but you're looking at one of the highest strikeout pitchers in baseball. And the only thing that is holding him back from every single projection system being the leader in strikeouts, are those innings. And I think there is a lot of cushion on those innings. And I think there's a lot of value on that. That's the other thing. If Garrett Crochet was like 4-1 or like second in strikeouts, this might feel a little bit different. We're talking close to 10-1 right now on this bet. So this is my absolute favorite of any of these when you talk about awards or, season long stat projecty type of things. I love Garrett Crochet to lead the league in strikeouts. Carty, I'd be very curious at what you have to say about this one, because I laid out using your projection system some of what's on Crochet. What do you think about placing this bet?
I like it for basically the reason that you said. Innings are not even something that most projection systems are projecting directly. Like I'm just using ATC's basically aggregate innings projections. We don't know which pitchers are going to stay healthy. Like the innings are just kind of like, this guy hasn't really done it before. He could get hurt. We're going to play conservative. We don't know. If Crochet is one of the guys that goes over 200 innings, like he has the stuff easily to be the leader. So yeah, if you're getting great odds on it, then I like it, because on a per inning basis, Crochet should certainly be better than 10-1.
Yeah, and right now plus 850 in some markets I've seen has even gone down to. So this is one where one less guy in Garrett Cole too now enters into that conversation too. So you can see all of a sudden when the field starts to whittle down, all of a sudden less competition. I think the innings is clearly the only thing we have to worry about here, but I'm with you, Welsh. I'm not super worried, and I'm starting to really buy the Red Sox here. I have them in a parlay for a couple divisions. I like to do those. They're fun. You throw $10, you can win a couple grand. I got real close on 2 NFL ones last year, one of which I did get late on a redo. That was a very nice return, but one of them, I think it was like $20 or something. It would have brought back $3 grand, and I missed it by one division. One division I got wrong. Very frustrating, but it's fun nonetheless. This is the ride we take here. Let's also go back to Carty here for another one of his picks. Before we do, I want to get to some questions also that I have in the chat right here from Tough Talk with Teachers, friend of the show here. Would you keep both Gunnar and Trey Turner in a keeper league? Carty, let's ask you this question here. What do you think about Trey Turner and Gunnar? I know Gunnar is dealing with some health issues right now. Trey Turner, obviously a slow start last year, but things kind of came back around. I feel comfortable keeping both these guys. If I could only keep one, I'm keeping Gunnar. But what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, it kind of depends on what your alternatives are, how many keepers you can keep. I mean, yeah, they're both worth keeping in the right situation. You're worried about Gunnar's health. You're worried about Turner a little bit, like he doesn't project as well as he has in past years. But yeah, if they kind of set up as your best guy, sure, I have no problem with that.
Next question here. Don't Give Him the Stick has one for us. We love Don't Give Him the Stick. Would you like to get our opinion about RPs in a 12-team head-to-head categories league? Generally like to wait until at least the 6th round to chase saves, with seeing RP going earlier in the mock drafts. Here's the thing for me, Welsh, is if you have the mandatory RP spots, that matters a little bit more. I'm more apt to be a little bit more aggressive, at least get one guy. If not, then I'm more apt to wait and let the saves kind of fall where they may. I like going late on the Joyces and the Romanos and the Fairbanks and just maybe get 3 guys and just kind of have some bodies in there for those 2 RP spots. You are more of a go get a closer early, and you tend to like to lock one in. From what I've seen, especially you play a little bit more head-to-head cats. I'm more of a points fella. Where do you think is kind of the sweet spot this year with the pool looking the way it is?
I mean, I think like if you're playing in NFBC, you're going to see closers going between the 2nd and 3rd round. You might start seeing, there's a Clase, he's a hater into the 4th round. So then I think you're going to see a Brunt start pushing around the 5th, 6th. I don't need to get the top guys. I really love Andres Munoz. That's probably like that top. Is the bottom of the top tier of the first closer that I want. I think there's a bunch of value later. Kyle Finnegan is still being ranked low. Ryan Presley is still ranked really low in a lot. I mean, ADP, he's like 240 right now across an aggregate of ADP. I think there's a lot of late closers, plus guys like AJ Puck. I want to get one, but follow the runs, pay attention to the runs. 7 or 8 closers go off the board, then start paying attention. That's where I'm going to start targeting a guy like Andres Munoz, but I don't want to be pushed if I have to be drafting closers in the 4th round.
Got a Crochet question here. Since we're just talking about him, let's talk about this. Is drafting Crochet at 22 early. Head-to-head points of strikeouts are worth a lot. It's not crazy to me, but he is going at 36 overall, more of a 3rd round-ish kind of guy. Carty, what do you think here? Do you think it would pay to be more aggressive on Crochet, Or, I mean, this is almost a whole round ahead early.
It's tough. I mean, like we said before with Welsh's bet, like Crochet's talent is elite. Like he's probably a top 2 or 3 pitcher in baseball. It's just like, how deep is he going to, how many innings he's going to be able to throw, and pitching in Fenway is not ideal. So 20 is probably a little high for me when you weigh the risk, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he pays that off.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough actually comparing against the guy who's going consensus 4. I have Garrett Crochet at 4 in my ranks, but Logan Gilbert is the consensus 4 guy. And you want to talk about consistency in innings. So you're battling this upside potential. There's a downside to Garrett Crochet pitching in Boston, like Derek said. But then you've got all this upside versus this floor with, and not, I don't want to say like there's not upside. There's still continuous upside with Gilbert as he continues to change up this repertoire and throwing splitters and stuff like that. But that's the battle that you're dealing with. It's like consistency of Logan Gilbert or upside of Crochet. I did take Crochet in the second round of my tout draft, but it was bigger. It was 15 team. I think I was a little bit towards the back. I wanted to make sure I got an SP, and a few were coming off the board. So 20 might be a little bit high, but maybe in reference if like 5 or 6 pitchers are already off the board, and maybe he's got a long run and you don't want to miss, but I probably am not taking him at 20, to be honest.
Let's get back to some of the wagers here. Let's go back to Derek. Speaking of Logan Gilbert, Logan Gilbert to lead the league in wins. Now the Seattle Mariners would serve themselves a little bit better to possibly score some more runs. I want to say at home last year when they scored 3 or more runs, they were 43-7. Just get them 3 runs. That's all we're asking for. Let's talk about Logan Gilbert, Derek, and what you see ahead for him in 2025.
Yeah, I like Logan Gilbert to lead the league in wins. At DraftKings, you can get it at 35-1 right now. You look at projections and it's like, okay, why not at this number? You look at who the bat is projecting to win games this year. Logan Gilbert projects in a virtual tie for second at 13 wins. There's a handful of guys there. There's one guy at 14 wins. And most of those other guys are priced more at like 10-1. 35-1 for Gilbert, I think, is great. Like you said, the innings are there. He's very efficient, so he can go deep into games, which is always great for getting wins. The talent level is elite, but without like the kind of crazy Garrett Crochet stuff that makes you worry about injuries in today's kind of environment. Obviously, any pitcher can get injured. It's not like we can predict it at all, but you feel a little more comfortable about a guy like Gilbert than you do about a guy like Crochet. Being able to pitch a full season, and the bat it sees this year, especially with the Cole news, as like a very a year with a lot of parity. Like it only has 2 teams projected for more than 90 wins. It has the Mariners projected for the 4th most wins in baseball, kind of at the top of that next heap after the Dodgers and the Braves. And so yeah, if you're giving me 35-1 on Logan Gilbert, when he's basically projected for the, tied for the 2nd most on average, yeah, you're giving me a good number. I'll take it.
Yeah, it certainly does look like a good number. And look at his numbers from last year. They were pretty spectacular. Logan Gilbert was an absolute rock star stud in fantasy last year and in reality. And look at the intensity on the face. That was the same face that Welsh made every Logan Gilbert start, where he just could not believe how good Logan Gilbert was.
Yeah, biggest egg on my face too was last year. I mean, I remember me and Eno were talking about, it's like, if you're going to rely on the splitter, it was like, you want the fastball to be this dominant fastball. And it's just like, he just keeps making it happen. And those are the questions. And he's a workhorse. I'm going to tell you, I made this bet. Like I got this info a little bit early from Carty for this show. And I 100% made this bet because also you make the season-long bets, depending what, world you're in. If you're looking to have some fun season-long bets, I'm not sure there's one that's more fun than this. 35-1, a guy that's going to push 200 innings. You can play to the wins. You're hoping the offense is going to pick up. And I just think there's a great potential return on this. Like if you're going to make a list of 4 or 5 guys that are going to lead the league in wins, I think Gilbert has to be up there. And there's a reason why he's so lauded in fantasy as well this year. So I think this is a great pick. If I'm, again, putting your investment in pitching season-long props is like the scariest thing. Crochet and Gilbert, I think, are 2 really, really fun ones.
Yeah. Let's get to our first super chat here of the day. Taylor only can keep 2. Who would you keep? Strider, Glasnow, McClanahan, Framber Valdez, Sandy Alcantara, DeGrom, or Michael King. Can keep and hold like in Dynasty. So it's a long time here for one of these. So only can keep 2 of these guys. Now, look, you're going to miss Strider for most of this season. Glasnow never.
No, Strider's only going to miss April. He should be back in May.
We'll see.
But
let's say late May. Let's say
it's
late
scary.
May. You're going to miss a good part of the season.
Yeah, sure.
Glasnow never gives you 150 innings. McClanahan just had his arm remade, so does Sandy Alcantara. Those are the 2 most intriguing ones to me on this list, now that they've just been reborn with the new arms. So, Welsh, you can only keep 2. Who are the 2 you're keeping?
The context of how this is being asked, if this was like, you can only have 2 keepers and that's all you're keeping, then my answer would probably lean like a little bit more towards like a redraft standpoint. So then I might be like, well, I might push King and DeGrom, but obviously I'm assuming this is a bigger keeper standpoint. I'm going to go Michael King and Strider just because like, I know you're going to miss a month. I don't want to play against what you can win now, but like Strider could be the number 1 pitcher in baseball. He's going to miss a month. If he gets back to where he was, you have a huge showing through the back of the year and you get to keep him next year. And Michael King, I think, is in a great spot. If you wanted to knock Michael King off for Shane McClanahan, I also think McClanahan is one of those, but Strider and McClanahan put you in a weird spot where maybe you're a little bit behind early, but I do think like long term, if this was dynasty, pure dynasty, because he says hold like a dynasty.
Yeah, no
McClanahan and Strider.
There's no contracts. You're just holding guys. Look, DeGrom's too old to be kept, and he hasn't thrown 100 innings in 5 years. Like I'm not coming close to that. Derek, where do you land on this one? We've got some different opinions. I'm going with the 2 guys who have just been fixed, one of which just won a Cy Young 2 years ago. And I think people forget that Sandy Alcantara is that good. And he's probably going to be on his way out of Miami sooner than later to a contending team. Where do you land on this? This is tough. There's a lot of talent here.
Yeah, a lot of talent to pick from. I think you have to do Strider. I mean, not going to miss a ton of time this year. Before last year, he was being drafted, rightfully so, as the top pitcher in fantasy by like a huge margin. Like nobody even touched him projection wise. I think you have to take him, especially if this is long term. And then if it's like a dynasty kind of thing, just give me McClanahan. I'll take the risk. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a fun one. And I mean fun in air quotes. Chris, Derek, Joe, if you had to take a flyer on one of these old farts, he called them aging legends. I'm going to call them old farts. Who you got, Verlander or Scherzer? Carty, who are you taking a shot on?
I don't mind taking a shot on either where they're being drafted late. Give me Verlander, but it's not a strong give me Verlander. I'm okay with either one.
Welsh, how about you?
Yeah, I think Carty said it really well because it's like both of them are just free. They're free 99. I'll probably go with Justin Fartlander there if you're looking for the old farts, just because of the ballpark factor. I think that's really beneficial. So I'll probably go with Verlander here. But Scherzer did look pretty good.
All right, we're going to continue to take questions the rest of the day too. I want to get to Welsh's other bet here real fast. So let's go back to Michael Toglia of the Colorado Rockies. The home run total is 23.5. Welsh, you like the power of this young man? I assume this is an over for you.
Yeah, this was. Oh, it's always an over for me. Is it
That's
the
right.
over? That's the
Life
that's
is
the
too
football
short
name
for the unders. Yes.
Exactly. I can't bet too many unders here. Yeah, I mean, this one is not as sexy of any of them, and this one falls along the lines of that tough question I kind of had at the top of like, if you're doing a season-long bet at minus money, what's the play? I know a lot of people have fun and like to pair a couple of these together. I had one of those season-long bet. I'm probably going a couple units. I just really like the Michael Toglia numbers right now. He hit 25 in 2024 in just 116 games while hitting just 218. And I know that's definitely going to be like a focal point of what everybody's talking about. I love, and if you've heard like me talking in videos, I've talked about the value of him. I love the underlying bat profile. He had an almost 18% barrel rate. That's elite of elite. Over 50% hard hit rate. I mean, again, elite of elite. He also had expected batting average close to 25 points higher than his actual batting average of 244. And that's a big thing for me. If Michael Toglia is hitting in the 240s, he's smashing this. He's not getting to 25. He's not getting to 30. He's probably getting to 35. He finished last season in the second half of the season with a 235 average. Now, you do have to watch like a lot of Colorado, obviously the home ballpark is an advantage and they can have split issues. There's a little bit of a split issue. He hit 235 at home last year. He only hit 202 on the road, but check this out. Despite hitting 202 on the road, 17 of his 25 homers came on the road. So think about progression coming into this year. Now, projections, they tell some different stories. If you look at like Steamer, ATC, New, Oopsie, they all have him at 25. So they've got him hitting this one. Steamer and ATC are 24. I'm sorry. Steamer and ATC have him at 25. The bat happens to be the one that is lower. The bat and the bat X have him at like 22 and 21. And I think it's around like 130 games. But you talk about the offensive profile with that barrel and hard hit, a higher expected batting average, the home ballpark factors, and overall progression. I really like this number. Maybe it's a little too thin as far as projections are going, but I think the games can come up a little bit. And I also think he's going to overplay the homers. This is what he is built for. And that hitting profile tells you as well. So 23.5, I saw it jumped up on DraftKings before the show at 24.5 with plus money. So that's something to pay attention to. And yeah, as Mayor said, one of the biggest worries is the strikeout rate. And that's the thing that holds him back. I mean, a 30+% strikeout rate is a concern, but that's why I'm betting on the hitting profile. Also the ballpark, maybe this would be different if this is like Seattle. I might not be playing this, but the home ballpark just plays very well in favor. I really like this on Michael Toglia. And this is a 35+ home run bat when things are going okay, that you're getting 10 homers less. So I'm in on Michael Toglia, season-long home run total, 23.5. I'll also play 24.5 at plus money.
All right, Derek Carty, before we let you go, I got a question for you because this is my approach, and I want to run it by you for 2025. I'm betting Shohei Ohtani to win National League MVP because, well, it's clearly an easy path. And then I am going to pair it in a little tiny, duo parlay with different folks from the American League. I got one with Bobby Witt. I've got one with Aaron Judge. Just going to go through some lists. What do you think about that approach this year of just kind of bowing down and giving up on National League MVP and saying, okay, it's Ohtani. It's very difficult to beat Ohtani, especially now if he's going to be pitching again. And then just saying, instead of just betting straight out one of those guys in the American League, just constantly pairing him with Ohtani to get better odds.
I see the appeal of it, and I see being like, okay, like obviously Ohtani. Personally, I don't think the odds you're going to be offered on that are going to be plus EV, but I could be wrong. I mean, I think the books realize like people think Ohtani's going to be the MVP. He's probably going to be the MVP. I don't think they're giving you the number you need on that.
Well, at plus 145. If I pair him with Bobby Witt right now, it is plus 275. I get plus 800. Those are the two top guys at the board. That's a big jump on two guys that are pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, they're both great. It could easily happen. But to nail both MVPs like that, I would want more than plus 800 personally.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Well, what would that number be?
One
like
injury and you're dead. Like,
yeah, well, and also Ohtani's going to pitch more this year, so that puts a little bit more of a strain on potential missed time if something were to go wrong. What would you want, like 12-1, 13-1, if you were doing something like that? Do you think that's a better return?
I'd want to run the math on it, but yeah, I'd want something in the double.
Something like that. Okay.
Well, I got one for you. If you didn't like that Bobby Witt one, how about Jose Ramirez with Ohtani plus 5,535? How about that? Now you're just
having fun. Now you're just having fun.
Hey, Matt, look, I'm the big dog when it comes to these futures. You know it, Welsh. And at a certain point, I think we have to look and just be reasonable with ourselves and realize that when Ohtani's on the field, he is the greatest player that any of us have ever seen, will ever seen, probably has ever played in terms of talent and skill overall. And if he's pitching again, it's damn near impossible to beat him for this award. And look, it's plus money right now. It's not going to get better, most likely, barring an injury. Derek Carty, I wish you a very healthy entire Major League Baseball season, not just for you, but for all of your teams as well. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Obviously, check out all of his amazing work, the bat projections, all the incredible stuff that Derek does, ESPN Fantasy, Roto Grinders, analytics, you name it, he's got it.